All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Rattled Cage podcast. I am Ryan, joined as always with Sterling. Um, we got Martinsville this weekend. So Homestead last weekend, Larson going for the triple, couldn't get it. Obviously
Same
the
there.
Xfinity, Larson went for the triple, didn't get it because of Sam Mayer. Um, Yeah, it was pretty good though. Pretty good weekend all in all. I thought it was good racing. Obviously, everybody's teasing that that's going to be the championship race, and that would be awesome.
I hope so. Obviously, we get Phoenix this year, but we got to get it back to Homestead.
Yeah, yeah. So, as far as Homestead, as far as DFS was, man, I was looking really good. Man, I mean, we nailed most of that. It was like I had a lot of Priest, a lot of Dylan as my uh value plays, and man, was I looking good until Blaney blew up.
Yeah, that was kind of gross. And then
I
even after that, it was still looking good. But
Yeah,
last 20, 15 laps or so is when it all really went to shit.
yeah, I still came out ahead somehow, and I had no Bubba Wallace and no Bowman, but
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? I don't know why I didn't end up with any Bubba Wallace. I just must have not went into that range because like we talked about Bubba Wallace, and
yeah.
yeah, he
That's
could
we
be a
said
good
it'd be a
play.
good way to get different.
Yeah, and for some reason I didn't have any, but yeah, I had a lot of Dillon, a lot of Priest, a lot of Blaney, a lot of Larson, and I was looking really good. I was soloing the $12 single entry. Uh, then Blaney blew up, and I still came out ahead, so I can't complain. But man, if Blaney would have just not blew up, I think we both would have had a good day.
Yeah, that's I can't. My tournament, their contest for those came out about even, but my main line's what killed me. I didn't even cash my main
Yeah,
line.
yeah, that stinks. Yeah, I had a lot of. I started out a lot of contests with Hamlin, Blaney, Larson, and then like I'd go Priest and Dillon, and then most of the time I went Todd Gillen, which that one kind of sucked,
Eh,
but whatever. So on to on to Martinsville. I'm kind of excited for now until probably we see qualifying, and we'll probably be turned off again. But
oh my god! I hope for once we get a regular lineup.
yeah, yeah. So they did announce no option tire this week, which is good for DFS wise. I mean, I won't lie, as a fan, it was kind of entertaining, but like as DFS, it does suck when Brian Priest came out and racked off all them fast laps, being a driver that nobody was really on. So
Yeah, that's you can't
can't predict
predict.
it. Yeah.
No, these pit strategies, you just have no idea what they're gonna do.
Yep. So
You can,
as a DFS player, obviously we're pretty happy. I'm going to speak for you, I guess, Sterling. I'm sure you're happy. I'm happy. They're going to run the same tires they did in November, which that's what we were talking pre-show. I think if I remember right, it was a pretty decent race. Like I think people could pass decently. Um, so you know, obviously the big thing that stuck out to me was like the Christopher Bell wall ride, and then uh Chastain and Dylan blocking for Byron. It was basically all them shenanigans kind of like running rampant in my head. And obviously, Blaney moving from 14th to first. I do remember that.
yeah, I think he
Um,
led like 57 laps, or maybe that was fastest laps.
yeah, something like that. I don't think he led a lot.
No, he didn't lead a lot.
I think Byron might have led the most. I
Yeah,
w-
Blaney, he only led 32, but he had 57 fastest laps.
okay, yeah, I want to say Byron. I think led a lot of that, and then Blaney caught him at the end. But yeah, we're gonna have to go back and dive deep into that one. But we do have all the results and stuff here. Like I said, we are gonna run the same tire as November. So November is the one that I'm really looking at here, as far as who I kind of like and who I don't. Because one that kind of really stuck out was Brad Keselowski. Um,
Yeah, that when I was going through and looking at things and making this chart, that really kind of shocked me, to be honest.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that ran good. Obviously, we're gonna have to go back and look, but I think Brett Keselowski had a good day all in all. But
He led
obviously,
most of the race.
oh yeah, he did. But you see, like he's basically finishing 20s and 30s before November. Noah Gregson looks like another guy that benefited from this tire. Austin Dillon, look at that, 7th place. Um, So, I mean, obviously, you can look at all these results. And before we go further into this, I will say uh, Sterling will make this available in the Discord. He literally just finished it before we got on. So Sterling does a great job with this Excel file here, and he does make it available in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, I will post a link to it in the comments right after this video. Definitely click it. Definitely join. It's free. There's a lot of great guys in that Discord. We have the fantasy racing world champion Evil Surge in there. We have Ben and Brad. Brad's got 2 tickets already to the fantasy world championship.
Pretty sure
Uh,
Ben already has one too.
yeah, Ben has one. D Bowles is always in there. We have a Stukas. He runs the Sims.
I was just gonna
He
say we should hit on that real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Sterling, I'll let you take the lead on that.
Well, if you guys have been paying attention in the Discord, you already know about the Sims, but it's to the point now that the Sims is pretty much all I use to build my lineups. And now he is gonna start offering that to everybody as like a paid service. I believe he said $40 for a month, which I mean, with what you get, it's a hell of a deal. Like, and that doesn't just include the Sims. That would include the analysts that he breaks down, like everything. It's similar to this chart, but to be honest, I think it's a little more in depth than what we have here.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Sims that is fucking badass is you can put in your own percentage for how often you think a guy wins, their top 3, top 5, top 10, all the way down to top 30. And then you can total all that to make sure it's the right amount of percentages for each position and whatnot. But how he starts the sheet off is he pulls all the odds from DraftKings for win, top 3, top 5, top 10, and then does the implied totals on that and or implied odds on that, and that's kind of where we get the baseline at. So right off the gate, you're starting with a sheet that is basically designed to build lineups based on how the sports books think the race is going to play out. And it's been a hell of a help. Like
Yes, it has.
right now he updated the app and we can run like 15,000 sims. He and I can run a little more than that because of their computers we have, but the goal is to get that so anybody can run like 20, 25,000 sims.
Yeah.
And then there's also there's also like a lineup generator in there. I think he just changed the name on that actually, but you can filter that for like top 1 optimal, top 2, top 3 and so on. And that just narrows down to how often that lineup showed in those 15,000 runs or whatever as the high score.
Wow.
So, like, you can say you're running the mini max, you want 150, you can sort that to get the 150 absolute best lineups that the computer came up with the Sims. There were like 15, 20,000, which
Oh,
usually
wow.
ends up being I think the most I've seen is like 65, 70,000 different lines. So it
Jeez.
it breaks down like every possible outcome there is.
Yeah, I know you sent me the info, and it's crazy. Like you said, you just input the starting lineup. I'm sure you have to input the salaries and everything like that, and then it
But,
simulates however many thousand times and spits out how percentage of what guy was optimal. Like it'll say William Byron was optimal 38%, Ryan Blaney was
like
optimal 46%.
one of the guys that spit out very heavy last week was Austin Dillon,
I
and to be
remember that.
honest, I flat out said on the show, I feel like pretty sure I said on the show that
Yeah,
I
you did.
had to really force it to narrow down Austin Dillon, and it was still hammering him out.
Yeah.
And it was obviously spot on that. So
Yeah. So, like I said, guys, there's a lot of great minds in that Discord. So, like I said, you will have access to these sheets. I'm pretty sure you have access to the for now you'll have access to the simulator. Um and access to anybody. I mean, Cam fan, all them guys. Like if you just spit out, oh, how much do you guys like this guy this week? I mean, you'll get a bunch of answers on how much people like that guy. Oh, how much do we like Ryan Priest this week? I'm sure you'll get 10 answers.
and the thing I like about that the most is you're gonna get an honest answer. Like
Oh
you're
yeah.
you're not gonna get someone trying to talk you out of a guy they're high on or vice versa. Like they're going to tell you exactly what they think, whether you like that or not.
Yeah, sometimes Ben hurts my feelings. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, Ben's brutally honest. He'll most of the time call you an idiot for your opinion, but it is
Yeah,
funny. I mean, you gotta love them. So,
yeah,
but yeah, you will get an honest answer. So, but yeah, it's great, guys. I'll send you the link, or I'll put the link in the comments after the video. But yeah, going back to this sheet, like I said, Sterling does have all what is it, 6 races here, and then
yeah.
I have it sorted by average finish. So obviously, Ryan Blaney's just been phenomenal here. Um, 2 wins, every finish in the top 7, average finish of 3.5. One that actually surprised me is Larson. I didn't realize he was. I mean, this is like Hendrick's playground, basically. I know Blaney's kind of taken over a little bit, but most of the time, this is the Hendrick playground. I didn't realize Larson was as good as what he was here.
Yeah, he definitely used to not be. Like I feel like he didn't really get the hang of Martinsville until the next gen car because he
Yeah, this
even in
isn't Larson's style. This
no,
isn't.
like I was
No,
just gonna say it took him years to figure out Williams Grove, and I always say that because I think they're pretty much the exact same track, except one's a dirt sprint car track, the other's a NASCAR track.
right. I think one that could be interesting also is Chase Briscoe here. Average finish of 8th. Obviously, that is and not the equipment that he's in now. I think that was a great homestead finish for him. I think he ran top 5. I'm pretty sure he finished top 5. Don't quote me on that, but he ran top 5 all pretty much all race. So that team should have some momentum going into this weekend. And as we can see, average finish of 8.6 for him, and obviously not in Joe Gibbs Racing equipment. So he's one I think I'm going to keep my eye on.
Yeah, that's I kind of I feel like Chase Briscoe is a guy that I want to be early on. Like everyone obviously already knows who he is. They expect him to perform, but I feel like people are being kind of worried about it right now because it's a new team in a
Yeah.
sense.
That's why I don't think I'd be as high on him if he didn't run good last week, because obviously he really hasn't done a whole lot this year up until
No.
last week. Last week seems like they really put it together, and at least maybe they're actually showing something, and they can come to Martinsville, and obviously he drives really well at Martinsville, so hopefully you know with a little bit better equipment. Martin Truex Jr. has always ran good here, so I think James Small, obviously knows what he's doing setting up the car. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think Briscoe. We'll get the pricing here in a little bit. I honestly don't even know what he's priced at, but I'm curious now.
I actually haven't even looked at pricing yet other than that
Yeah,
message you sent me earlier.
I do have. I do have. I did update this sheet here, put the pricing on a later tab. So, um, Bubba Wallace definitely running good this year. I'm curious to see.
He's the guy that I always think of when we go to Martinsville. Like his
Yeah,
finishes don't really show it, but he does run pretty fucking well here.
he does, and he's one of the drivers that the last 2 weeks he really kind of stuck out as far as performing. So he definitely has momentum coming into Martinsville. So He can come in with a little extra, pep in his steps. So another guy, Ryan Priest. I think I'm going to be all over on him. Back to back top 10 finishes. Um, Homestead and Vegas, and then we're going to come to a track that really, obviously, he probably knows better than anybody on the circuits. So, um, definitely watch out for Ryan Priest. I think obviously qualifying is going to play into this, but I think Priest is a guy. No matter where he qualifies, you could probably consider him.
Yeah, that's obviously. Yeah, that's. I'm trying to debate on how I want to say this, but he's got a ton of laps around this place in a
He
modified.
does. He
Uh,
does.
don't know how much you want to factor that in, but seat time is seat time. I don't care
Yep.
what type of car it is.
Yep. Absolutely. So that is finishes, and this is this run position, I assume?
Yeah, average running
Okay.
position.
So this is average running position. We see Larson, Blaney, Elliott, Briscoe again, Hamlin, Custer, Byron, Logano, Priest. Obviously, you said Priest again. Bubba Wallace, like you said, not too bad. Like I said, that team's really like it. I mean, honestly, he's looking better than Tyler Reddick this year, which is crazy to
Yeah.
say. So I don't know. Bubba might be one to watch out for this. Like I said, we'll have to watch qualifying and practice. But next up, we got quality passes. So this is how many passes they have made a race. Chase Briscoe right there at the top. This is shaping up to be a Chase Briscoe weekend, I think.
Yeah.
Very well could be. I mean, this could backfire on me, but looks like he just had that one good race there in November, 57 quality pass. I think that really bumped his number up, but still. And to be honest, if you look at everybody, this is what kind of makes me a little bit optimistic about this weekend. Joey Logano had 60. Look at the rest of Joey Logano. Alex
Yeah.
Bowman had 56. Look at the rest of it. So it looks like they could pass. Ross Chastain had 51. His next highest was 29.
Yeah.
So it definitely looks like on this tire they could pass. Is what I'm kind of seeing. Other than Denny Hamlin, it looks like Denny Hamlin could pass, but who knows? Um, Anything really stick out to you on this sheet, Sterling? I don't wanna steal any thunder away from you.
No, that's honestly, I didn't really look at this that way yet. That makes a ton of sense if you sit there and look at last year's compared to previous.
Yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm just kind of doing that because I mean this is obviously the tire. So obviously, if they ran good in November, if they clicked on something, they're probably going to bring the same stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, that's I was trying to find the loop data for Bowman Gray because they ran this tire there too.
okay, that would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot we can take from that, but I think there's definitely something we can take from that.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to say the same about all the other dates here. Obviously, April, 24, and then obviously 23 and 22. I mean, you can look at this sheet and take something from all of those dates, but like I said, I think the most of the data you're going to look for is that November because we're going to be on the same tire. So next sheet here, we got the fastest laps. So this is how many fast laps. Obviously, everybody that's on here knows DraftKings gives out points for the fastest laps. So this is always kind of nice to see. Who can spit out some fast laps. Now, obviously, it's you're gonna have your randoms that just have a clean track in front of them and isn't racing side by side with somebody, but fast cars go fast. So, obviously Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson being the top four. No shock there. Like I said, Chase Elliott hasn't really had the finishes here, but I feel like this is one of Chase Elliott's type of tracks, especially before the next gen era. This was his playground kind of, and then the next gen kind of came, and I don't think he's really had a lot of good finishes at the Martinsville, but looks like still has some fast laps.
Here's something that sticks out huge to me right now. I did find the loop data for Bowman Gray.
Okay.
And you want to guess the top 2 guys that had the most fastest laps?
I'm gonna guess Blaney and trying to think of Bowman Gray. Who was fast at Bowman Gray? Blaney. Yeah,
How
because
about
Blaney
uh,
worked his way up through the field, didn't he? Because
yeah,
yeah, he did.
which is even bigger with this.
Yes, you're right.
But
Was it Hamlin?
n- he was actually up there too, but it's identical to the order we have shown for the Martinsville race in November.
Okay.
It was
So
Elliott,
Elliott.
Blaney.
Oh, that's right. Elliott led all them laps at the beginning. Well, Elliott won it, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's right. I completely forgot who won it. But yeah, Elliott was like the dominant car, and I remember him and Hamlin battle, and I thought Hamlin passed him, and I remember thinking, "Oh, Elliott's he's done and gone." But yeah, I do remember that now. That's awesome. You brought that up, Sterling, because that's great to know.
Yeah, Elliott had 49 fast laps, Blaney had 34, Hamlin had 31, Reddick had 14, and then pretty much everybody else had at least 1 or 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Speaking of Reddick, I mean, this just isn't a Reddick track for some. I mean, obviously, we know Reddick likes to run the wall and stuff, but Reddick's just never, as far as my recollection, he's just never ran good here. As you can see, the most fast laps he's ever had was 18.
Yeah, it's just not their kind of track, I think, of when I think Tyler Reddick.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So next tab, we got the percentage of laps in the top 15. So once again, we got Blaney, Larson, Logano, Briscoe, Chase, Elliott, Hamlin, Bowman, Cole Custer. So yeah, pretty much most of the same. I mean, obviously this is going to be a Blaney weekend unless something, I don't know. He's been having that Kyle Busch luck lately, like we were talking. What was it, pre-show or whatever? Just yeah, Phoenix, he blew a motor. Uh, Vegas, he got in that crash. He was probably one of the fastest cars in Vegas. And then Homestead,
Yeah.
he definitely was the fastest car.
Yeah, that's
So
definitely something to keep in mind when we get to this. I want to say Darlington is the next 1.5. It
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah. One thing that kind of sticks out to me so far is no Christopher Bell. I
I
mean,
know, and he
we
is
haven't really
actually
talked about him.
no, and he's one of the guys that comes to mind when we think
You
short
think
flat
of short,
tracks.
yeah, exactly. So that's one thing that kind of see, Christopher Bell only 11. He did have 11 fast laps. Where did he? Well, he finished 22nd. I forget what happened. I do remember that he didn't finish very. That's quality passes, average running position. Christopher Bell 17th. Yeah, he just did not have a good October or April race. He didn't run very good. Some odd reason. 22nd, 35th, 7th, 16th. He did win in October 2022 and 20th. So I don't know. That's kind of alarming, actually.
Yeah, but the thing I want to point out about Christopher Bell is what he did at Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. Well, I mean, he would have done that last year too, because last year at Phoenix, the first Phoenix race, he won by over what was it, 2 seconds or something, and that was the biggest finish in next gen history.
Yeah, he this year he led 105 laps, had 35 fastest laps.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
he
yeah, I mean,
also won Coda. I can't remember how many laps or he led or how many fast laps, but Only reason I'm bringing Coders up is because they do run the same short track package on the road courses. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and speaking of that, I think SVG, I don't
he's got
remember if
one start here, and he was in the
12.
optimal lineup.
Yeah, I don't remember if I don't want to say lucked into it. You know what I mean as far as like I don't remember if it was like pit road strategy and he, kind of worked his way up or if it was a legitimate 12th place finish. I don't really remember. I should have watched last year's race to kind of remember that.
I would say along the lines of lucking into because his average running position was 25th.
Yeah, okay. That kind of makes sense.
Had 17 quality passes. I don't want to say that takes him out of it this week,
Yeah.
but just maybe not as good as it looks.
And we've always said it before. Them road course guys normally tend to do good at like shorter flat tracks, just because they can kind of they have the car control and they know how to get speed out of corners.
You're
SVG,
kind
man.
of you're kind of
S-
cutting in and out at times.
okay, sorry, I just said yeah. SVG, these road course guys kind of do run these short flat tracks a little bit. A little bit, they kind of tend to run these better than they do like the Vegases and the Homesteads.
Yeah,
So, all right, next up we got the laps led. So this is kind of another interesting tab. We can see the drivers that have led laps and the average of laps they led, and we see the same 4 guys: um, Elliott, Hamlin, Byron, Larson.
yeah.
Other than Blaney should have I guess Blaney's a name that we've been saying a lot, and he's not in this one, but definitely led a little bit in the last November race.
Yeah, so basically, just looking at this, like I'm not saying this is who we're playing, but just based off this, it really seems like it's going to be a tight player pool as far as speedster points.
Oh yeah, yeah. Obviously, yeah. Looking at this, I think you're gonna go. Most of the time, I think at these 400 lap, 500 lap, you definitely do a lot of stars and scrubs. But I think this is stars and scrubs. You're gonna want a lot of Elliott probably, and Blaney and Byron and Larson, probably Hamlin also.
Yeah, and it is 400 laps, so that's enough that you could want 3, maybe even 4 speedsters.
Yes, yes. So yeah, they did take 100 miles or 100 laps off of this race, which is kind of disappointing. But I think they started that last year.
It's been the entire next gen era, actually. I was thinking the same thing. It doesn't seem like
Oh
it's been
yeah,
that long.
huh? Yeah, I'm seeing that because the laps led. Yeah, that does add up to 400 pretty much every time. Yeah, that's disappointing because it used to be are both of them 400 miles or
No,
400 laps?
The April race is 400, and the
Oh,
November October one is
500.
5.
Okay, okay. So next up, we got the driver rating. So this is a rating based on like average running position, finishing position, fast laps, laps led. Trying to think if there's anything. I think percentage in the top 15. I
Yeah,
think basically all the charts we went through. It kind of makes a rating for these guys.
pretty much.
And
Yeah,
yeah, so obviously, like we've basically been saying it's going to be a Blaney, Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, except Briscoe. I don't know. I'm kind of a little bit on this Briscoe bandwagon. I'm curious to see what his price is because honestly, I haven't looked at it either. I kind of sent you that and I didn't really look too hard, and I just copied and pasted into this.
my eyes
Uh,
went straight to the bottom to see what the punts were. Burt Myers 47, Cody Ware
yeah,
48.
yep, yep, exactly. I think I did see where Josh Berry was and Ryan Priest because I was curious on them too.
Yeah, I was hoping Penske or Woods Brothers would show me something to try and get on Barry because I haven't looked at odds, but I feel like he could be an interesting outright this week.
Yes, yes, I haven't looked at odds either. So here is the next gen optimals. Um, Obviously, the one we're gonna look at for now is November because, like I said, that's the one that I'm most interested in. Blaney, Elliott, look like only the two big guys, Blaney and Elliott. Then it looks like Cindric, obviously Keselowski being 8,000, scoring almost 100 points. That does help, obviously. And then Cindric scoring 64. That was decent. And then
We
bunch
shouldn't.
place differential.
Yeah, I would hope that we shouldn't see an 8,000 speedster this week.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kinda odd because I mean, looking at Brad Keselowski's other Martinsville races, I don't think we were probably very high on Brad Keselowski.
No,
I could have been wrong, but
I think it was really a lot with that tire. It was supposed to
I
be
think it was too.
softer, wear quicker, so that just falls right into what he does.
Yep. And then October, we had pretty much the same thing, 2, uh, five-digit drivers and then an 8,000 and it looks like October 2022, Larson, Hamlin, Bell. So it looks like three big dogs and then obviously a Cody Ware punt and then a Todd Gilliland punt also. So,
Those are the exact same prices of the punts this week.
yep. So that's interesting there with the double punt. Um so yeah, it looks like you're pretty much spending your salary, anything like that. So let's go to the next one. This is laps led and fast laps by starting position. This is kind of interesting. Number of laps led. Obviously, the pole sitter leads a lot. Most of the time, Martinsville was a hard place to pass,
The
but
weird thing about this, though, is it seems like the pool sitter does far better in the April race than he does in October and November.
yeah, yeah. And I think obviously with the new tire, I think depending on who the pole sitter is, I think I'm going to be a little less, on if it's like a I don't know. I'm just gonna put if it's Alex Bowman again. I mean, I don't expect Alex Bowman to run away from if Chase Elliott's on his outside, if Ryan Blaney's on his outside, something like that. Where if this was the old April or 2023 tire, I think I'd be a little bit more on Alex Bowman. But like I said, according to all these stats, it looked like these guys could pass in November. So that kind of tends to lean me a little bit off of the pole setter is what would have normally been at Martinsville.
Yeah, it's kind of weird for me to look at this because typically you would think you have to have one guy inside the top like three or four,
Yeah,
but really looks like there's a couple races you could have got away with it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So, and then this one's by finish. So this is where they finish. So number of laps led and number of fast laps. So honestly, it kind of looks like the fastest car has always been winning. I mean, the guy with the fastest laps running an average of 56 fast laps finishes first. Um, Yeah, kind of interesting chart. Team history, like I said, this used to be Hendrick's playground. When you came here, you thought of, Jeff Gordon, William Byron, Chase Elliott, like all of them, Jimmy Johnson, even back in the day. This used to be Hendrick's playground, but lately it kind of seems like Ryan Blaney's kind of knocking on the door.
Yeah, and I forgot to do it, so I just did the math real quick, and Hendricks has led 41% of the laps at Martinsville in the next gen car. So
And that is not a surprise at all. But like I said, I do like Ryan Blaney here. I think Ryan Blaney's kind of the guy that kind of knocking Hendrick off of their throne. I think this race last year, obviously not the November race, but I think this was that Hendrick big anniversary thing where they had.
I think
Remember that?
so, yeah. Tinfoil
Yeah.
hat.
Yep. So I don't know. We'll see if there's any sort of anniversary this weekend for Hendrick Motorsports. But yeah, every time I came here, they went here. I always thought of Hendrick Motorsports. You always knew Byron, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, all them guys were gonna run good. So
Yeah, then everybody knows the story about it potentially being their last race at one point.
yeah, yep. So yeah, so here's cup pricing. Like I said, all I did was copy and paste it. This isn't a attractive chart like Sterling. Sterling puts together. He does a great job with them charts. So they're very well color coordinated. They look really nice, really appealing. But obviously at the top we have the guys we have been talking about. We have Blaney, Larson, Hamlin, Byron Bell, Briscoe 9,300. Damn, I was curious to see what his price was. They do have him priced up pretty good.
Yeah, I was hoping he was more like around Cendric there, 85 or so.
I was too, but yeah, they priced him up. Josh Berry 8,100. I'm curious to
Oh
see how
my.
he.
Why is Bubba Wallace 7,200?
I thought honestly when I sent you that was one guy that stuck out to me. Um, and then Ryan Priest at 7,500. So I'm hoping Ryan Priest, comes out and qualifies fifth because he could be a cheap lap leader at 7,500.
Yeah.
Austin Dillon could be that play that he was last week if he qualifies bad. I think because he had a great run here in November on this tire. So as much as we hate to say it, he could be in play. And then, like you said, Cody Ware 4,800. I mean, that's the punt if there is a punt.
Yeah, I feel like you're probably going to need at least one of these guys from the dinger down, if not two.
Oh yeah, Zane Smith 5,300. That Zane Smith's been on fire this year. Now, granted, like front row motorsports on fire, but like I feel like he's been like top 15ish all year. Finished 21st last year. That could be a decent for 5,300.
Yeah, and his average running position was 27th, so
Yeah,
he
yeah,
runs towards the back there, so it just depends on where he qualifies.
yeah. Depends on where he qualifies.
We should see a lot of guys get laps down rather quickly.
Yes, yeah. So that'll play a
Stage
big part.
stage 1 is 80 laps, so
Yeah. So yeah, here's the pricing for now. Like I said, the ones like Sterling said, Bubba Wallace 7,200. That is a huge. Like, what are they doing? Ryan Priest 7,500. I like that. Tyler Reddick is 7,700. That's weird to see, but like we said, he does not run good here. So, Josh Berry 81. I kind of like that, but yeah, Briscoe. That's kind of a bummer. They priced him up. I
yeah,
mean, depending. I mean, that could be a great pivot
yeah,
for
could stay with.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, he could go lower owned being 9,300, and that could be the play. So, next up, we got Xfinity pricing. It doesn't look like any Cup guys are running Xfinity. That's the one thing that stuck out. Is there anybody like when you come to Martinsville? Who do you think of in Xfinity, Sterling? You're the Xfinity guy.
When we go to Martinsville and think of Xfinity, honestly, there's not really anybody that really comes to mind. Like maybe Allgaier, I guess. Like that's the guy I want to keep saying, but
You gonna go back to back to back?
it wouldn't surprise me. But
Yeah.
I'm
Now,
gonna.
Sammy Smith run good here or something? I feel like I saw a tweet or something that like it was one of the JGR guys, and it wasn't like obviously Hunter Zillich or Wapple, but it was like one of the guys ran. I don't know. Maybe it was Brandon. Maybe I was thinking of Brandon Jones. Did Brandon Jones run good here? I know Brandon Jones isn't a JRM guy.
Uh, I would say it's probably gonna have to be Allgaier.
Yeah.
6 race, and since 2022, 6 races, 1 win, 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He's only led 47 laps though. And yeah, you're right. Sammy Smith, he's led 196 in 5 races, 3 top
Yeah.
fives.
But he is priced at 10K, so he's not really like you're not really full in DraftKings, I guess.
No, but I feel like it's going to be really hard to not play Eric Almirola.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sucks to want to play a 12K guy, but
Yeah. Yeah, they really priced them guys up this week, it seems like. I mean, having 5 guys above 10K.
the
Ooh.
Burtons, I feel like the Burtons are always good at Martinsville. Like, obviously, I don't think they're going to go out and win, but
Right. Yeah.
Harrison could potentially, just for the simple fact that they have a lot of help on that car. It's no longer what it was with D in it.
Okay. And then Harrison Burton, Taylor Gray. Okay. I kind of interested to see how they qualify. And then obviously we got the truck pricing. William Byron in a truck this week. Obviously, probably in the Spire number 7 truck.
Yeah, I had to look it up. I was actually hoping Rudy Fuel was going to be the crew chief, but he ain't.
Uh,
I feel like they should. Like, that makes the most sense to me.
yeah,
But it's Alan Hart, which I
yeah.
don't even really know who the fuck that is.
How much pressure would it be to be like? I was thinking about that when Kyle Larson was there last week. I was like, how much pressure would it be to be a crew like to be a like a regular truck series crew chief, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh hey, you got a crew chief, Kyle Larson. Like all eyes are on you. Like if you fuck up, you
Yeah,
know.
I didn't really think of that actually,
Yeah,
because
I honestly, I never have either until Kyle, and then they showed the crew chief, and I was like, boy, would that kind of suck? Like you're just a regular truck series crew chief, and then they're like, oh, here's Kyle Larson this week, and it's like
yeah,
if he doesn't win, they're it's on you. Like you have the
yeah,
most talented driver in the field.
yeah. And if you're a guy that doesn't have a win or that many wins, you're probably going to put more pressure on yourself because you want that win.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I guess shout out to those guys. That's a lot of pressure. Like you said, this guy we've never heard of. That's William Byron's crew chief. Like, if William Byron comes out and finishes 5th and has a 5th place truck all night, you're not really questioning William Byron. You're questioning the crew chief.
Yeah,
So, but I think that's really all that sticks out as far as pricing for trucks. Obviously Corey Heim, obviously the class of the field. I don't know if there's anybody short tracks. Probably Ty Majeski, Lane Riggs, I think, kind of stick out
absolutely. Yeah,
as far as short track truck drivers. I don't really watch that much trucks, and I try to. I shouldn't say I don't watch that much. I would love to watch more than I do, but yeah, Lane Riggs and Ty Majeski, I think, really come to mind.
honestly, there's not like I can name off like 5, 10 guys that, in a sense, jump out to me, and I wouldn't be able to pick one or the other. Like,
Yeah,
I would probably have to side with Majeski, I guess, but
yeah. So
down here though, I don't see anybody.
yeah, I
Like,
am. I do listen to Door Bumper Clear, so I am kind of excited for the Luke Baldwin thing. I don't
I
I
think that
don't
is cool.
I don't know much about him to be completely honest, but just
I
listening to the DBC, I mean,
I don't really know anything about him. It's just the family name, really, that it's like, okay,
yeah,
that's gonna be
yeah,
cool to
it's
see.
cool.
Like,
It is cool. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. He could be a terrible driver. I don't know. I can't assume he will. Can't assume he's not good, but yeah, just being Tommy Baldwin's son, I am kind of curious to see how he does. That's great for him and that family.
Wallace Allen seems to do well on this style of track.
Okay,
He's
okay,
always in scary equipment, and he's always scary in general. So
Yeah. Uh, yeah, this will be all kinda how they qualify.
Yeah, like I feel like the truck race is like this is one where it's okay to use the term dominator because I could see one guy pretty much legit dominating the race. It's just going to depend on how that lineup goes.
Yeah.
And I should be able to have time to get a practice chart up in the Discord. So get in there for trucks and Xfinity. We won't be doing a show or anything for it, but
Yeah.
we definitely will be in there talking about it.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, but yeah, that's all we got. We just kind of wanted to do a little preview show of like what we're looking for going into the weekend. Obviously, it's kind of nice to highlight a few guys, keep a few guys in the back of your head, and when it comes to watching practice, qualifying, go out and see how Chase Briscoe is running in practice, like see how Bubba Wallace is running in practice, like kind of highlight a few guys and keep them guys in the back of your head, and then hopefully hopefully they qualify in a decent position that you feel comfortable playing them in.
Yeah. Do you want to look at odds at all real quick or?
Yep. Yeah, actually we can. Um,
So I was just looking. They do have Xfinity up. They don't have trucks up yet. Obviously, they got everything for Cup though.
okay. All right.
Blaney's the favorite, 400.
Oh wow. That is crazy. I mean that doesn't surprise me though.
No, it's after what we just went through and talked about. I feel like Bubba Wallace could be the guy you want to bet if you're looking for a long shot. He's plus 3,000.
So I'm looking at head to heads. Chase Briscoe versus Christopher Bell. What did we just talk about?
I like that.
I mean, I do too. Chase Briscoe is minus 105. Christopher Bell's minus 125.
Yeah, and I feel like I mean it's tough because, like we said, Bell's been very fast in this package.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know, man. Something screams Briscoe to me, so I like that one. The next one I actually kind of like too. Chase Elliott versus Joey Logano.
Which way are you going on that?
I think I'm
I
gonna
think,
go. I think I'm gonna go Elliott.
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's obvious. I was just hoping we were on the same page there.
Yeah. Now is the next one obvious? Cindric versus Bowman.
It's definitely not obvious, but I personally want to lean Bowman just
Yeah,
because of
I
Hendrick
don't.
history.
Yeah, I don't think it's obvious either. I think that one's close. They're both minus 115, but yeah, I think I'd lean Bowman. The next one's Ross Chastain versus Kyle Busch. That one's kinda like could go either way, to be completely honest with you. I don't think I'd do that one.
No, that's I'm looking at average running position to try and give me an idea, and I still don't know which way I'd
Yeah.
go on that.
Yeah, Larson, Blaney, I think I'd stay away from that one, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously, my gut says Blaney, but, I mean, if Kyle Larson comes out here and wins this, I'm not gonna be surprised. Uh,
No,
th but the next one, Byron and Hamlin, that one's probably pretty close too.
yeah, I think really the only ones I would feel safe with are the ones we picked up
Yeah.
top there.
Yeah, Briscoe and Elliott. Yeah, you parlay those, the odds are 251. I like that.
And then just based off of average running position and average finish, Bowman does make sense for that third one there.
Okay.
So if you were to parlay all three of those, it would be plus 557.
Hell yeah. Top 10s, I kinda like, I'm just kinda looking at top 10s here. Kinda the long shots. Austin Dillon's plus 400. I don't mind that, especially after last week. Ryan Preece is plus 110. As far as the plus money ones, Josh Berry's plus 110, which is kind of crazy because he's been running really good this year. But I think my favorite, I think, would have to be Austin Dillon at plus 400.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that.
Yeah,
Either
it's scary. I mean, it's not doesn't give me the warm fuzzy feelings, but plus 400. I mean, he did finish seventh here last year, legitimately, and he ran good last week. So I don't know.
I don't really have anything to back this up, but Justin Haley at plus 800 doesn't
Yeah,
feel terrible.
no, it doesn't.
Like I wouldn't bet like a unit or anything like that on it, like maybe a quarter unit, but
Yeah, yeah. So we got that. Like you said about race winners. Briscoe at plus 1200. I think we talked about him a lot. That could definitely.
yeah, that's why I picked Bubba because I knew you like Briscoe at plus 1200.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something screaming Briscoe this week. I don't mind that.
What makes me curious what his top Toyota is.
Yeah, driver props.
It's
Oh yeah,
only
race.
plus 300.
Ugh. As far as top Chevy, nobody really sticks out there. I think the three Hendrick guys are well, actually, yeah, 400 guys. Yeah, they're pretty priced down. Top Ford. I wouldn't mind like a Ryan Priest top Ford. I don't think he's beating Blaney though, but just in case something weird happens, plus
Yeah,
800.
blows his third engine in 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think I'd like outside of Blaney. I think Priest has a chance to beat Logano, Barry, and Keselowski. Like I think he's mispriced there. But I definitely, like I said, I don't see him beating Blaney unless something weird happens.
No, I would be fine with a barrier priest top Ford if you think for some odd reason something happens to Blaney.
Yeah, and then top Toyota. What about like a Bubba Wallace top Toyota bet? I don't mind that either.
No, plus 600, I wouldn't be against that.
No, I wouldn't either. Because I mean, Bell, like we talked about, Bell. If Bell comes out here and finishes 15th, it would not shock me. Briscoe, I think, will be up there, and Denny will be up there. But if Bubba can muster out what he did last week, I mean, he was top Toyota Homestead. So, and then this is new. Did you see this? The fastest lap.
Yeah, I wish they would offer qualifying odds. They do
I
that
do
for
too.
the 500, and that's all they do it for.
Yeah, yeah,
You can get
fastest
it
lap.
on other books, but
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. I mean, obviously, it'd be hard not to bet, but to be honest, the fast laps is such a crapshoot stat. But like the fastest lap of the race is kind of a crapshoot.
yeah, I thought that's thought that's what you were saying, but
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get out there. Was like most of the time you see the Xfinity fastest lap, and it's like a guy that I don't know been a fifth place car all day that just I don't know seems like he got lucky or something like that. So.
yeah, you
But
want to
I wouldn't mind like a Blaney, I guess, if you want to throw something on there.
hit yeah, you want to hit group winners, and then we'll close her out.
Yep, we'll hit some group winners here. So we got all right, Group A. I'll start Group A. Ryan Blaney plus 210, Kyle Larson plus 240, Denny Hamlin plus 300, and Chase Elliott plus 300. I hate to take the safe guy here, but I think you have to go Blaney.
Yeah, that's. I was glad you took Group A because I didn't have a clue. I feel
I
like
think
it's
I think other than
close.
Blaney, yeah, I think it is too. It would be between Blaney and Larson. I don't think I have any
Yeah,
interest in Hamlin or Elliott there, but I think yeah, I think I'm gonna go Blaney.
yeah, and then Group B is William Byron, Jerry Logano, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe. And as much as I want to say Chase Briscoe, I think the right choice is William Byron.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I mean, if those would be my two choices, it would be Byron or Briscoe. I mean, if you want to roll the dice on Briscoe, that's not a bad. I don't think roll the dice, but Logano and Bell at their odds, I don't like either one of those. So
It's about a plus 500 difference if you go to Briscoe over Byron and
yeah, but
parlay.
I've got to agree with you. I think I'd go Byron there. But Group C, Ross Chastain, Kyle Busch. Ross is plus 230, Kyle's plus 250. Alex Bowman plus 260 or Austin Cindric plus 300. Oh, that one's a tough one. I think I'd just go Bowman just because of the Hendrick.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
But that one's tough. I mean, that one's going to depend on the qualifying right there.
You think that one's tough? This next one, they all have the same odds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Priest, Barry, Wallace, Keselowski, all plus 260. And when I originally looked at this, my eyes went straight to Bubba Wallace, so that's who I'm going to go with.
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that. I would probably go him or Priest. But
That's
yeah,
yeah,
that's
I,
plus 11,952.
yeah, which is pretty insane because
Yeah.
I feel like these group parlays are very durable. Like,
I do too. Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, there was how many of them that we were like, well, it's definitely between. I mean, in our eyes, I mean, obviously it's NASCAR and anything can happen, but most of them groups, it's like, oh, I'd go this guy or this guy. Oh, I'd go this guy or this guy. So you could sit there and make 8 parlays, and one of them in your mind should hit. So,
yeah, that's I think they used to offer round robin for them, but they don't anymore.
no, that would be nice. That would be nice. But yeah, I think that's all we got, Sterling. We're coming up on our hour, so we will quit boring with these guys with stats. And like I said, we will, obviously be back for the driver by driver breakdown. I got to work this weekend, so it'll be unfortunately Sterling Saturday night if you're around.
There's nothing going on, so I should be around.
All right, so we will do the driver by driver breakdown Saturday night. Like I said, guys, thanks for joining. We did get over 20 subscribers. We're up to 23 now, so now I can
Whoa.
quit nagging Sterling. So, thanks, guys, for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, do us a favor and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Um,
Yeah, now we need that up to 25.
yeah, we just gotta slowly grind here. So, but that's all we got, Sterling, and yeah, we'll see you guys Saturday night after qualifying and practice. So I get off at 7, so it'll probably be around 8:30, 8:39, somewhere in there.
Sounds good.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.